The Enchanted Tree of Wonders. The small cottage of Aldenbrook sat at the edge of a desolate farm, its once bright walls now faded and peeling. Inside, two young sisters, Lily and Rose, sat hunched over a small table, poking at the last scraps of bread. Their parents, Thomas and Sarah, were out in the fields, trying to make the best of the withered crops. The air was thick with tension and the unspoken worry about how they would make it through another month. Lily, Rose whispered, her voice barely audible over the sound of the wind tapping against the window. Do you think things will ever get better? Lily sighed, glancing at the door where their mother had gone earlier that morning, coughing weakly. I don't know, Rose. We've been praying for a miracle, but it's hard to see one coming. Rose didn't respond. She only stared down at her plate, hoping for anything to change. Just then, the door creaked open, and their father walked in, his boots heavy with the weight of the long day. He looked exhausted, his face gaunt from days of worry. Any word from the fields? Lily asked, her voice full of concern. Thomas shook his head. The soil's too dry. It's no use. We're barely scraping by. I don't know how we're going to feed the family this winter. Rose frowned, her small face full of confusion. But are we going to be hungry? Her father knelt beside her, brushing a strand of hair from her forehead. We'll manage, sweetheart. Don't worry. We always find a way. Lily watched them, her heart heavy. She wanted to believe him, but it was getting harder to ignore the cold reality of their situation. That night, as they sat huddled around the fire, a knock came at the door. Startled, Sarah opened it to reveal old Mr. Collins, the village elder. He looked tired, but his eyes held a spark of something unusual. Good evening, he said, stepping inside. I've heard whispers, folks saying that something strange has been happening on the outskirts of the village. Thomas frowned. Strange how? Mr. Collins lowered his voice, glancing around as if to ensure no one else could hear. There's a tree. A magic tree, they say. It's been bearing strange fruits and flowers. It's been helping some of the villagers, lifting them from poverty. Lily leaned forward, her curiosity piqued. Magic tree? Is that even possible? It's an old tale, Mr. Collins said. Passed down through generations. People have always been wary of it, but now, well, with how things are going, some say it might be real. Rose's eyes brightened. Do you think it could help us? I don't know, Mr. Collins admitted, but it's worth a try. It stands on the edge of the forest, just past the creek. The sisters exchanged a glance, the possibility of hope flickering in their hearts. The next morning, after a quick breakfast of porridge, Lily and Rose grabbed their coats. The day was gray and cold, but their spirits felt lighter, as if something had shifted. You sure you want to go? Thomas asked, his voice heavy with concern. We don't know what this tree can really do. We have to try, Lily said, her voice firm but soft. We need something to change. With that, they set off toward the outskirts of the village. The path was overgrown, with brambles scratching at their legs as they walked. The wind was sharp, biting at their faces, but neither of them cared. All they could think about was the tree. As they reached the edge of the forest, they saw it. The tree was massive, its trunk twisted and gnarled, its branches reaching out like arms to the sky. The air around it felt different, almost electric, and there was an odd warmth that radiated from its bark, despite the cold around them. Is this it? Rose whispered, her voice full of awe. Lily nodded, her heart pounding in her chest. This is the tree. They stepped closer, feeling the magic in the air. Just then, a soft voice seemed to echo from the tree itself. Who dares approach the magic tree? Lily jumped back in surprise. Rose grabbed her hand. Did you hear that? I did, Lily said, her voice shaking. But where is it coming from? The tree spoke again, its voice deep and warm. Fear not, children. You have come seeking help, haven't you? Lily's throat went dry, but she nodded. Yes, we've come. We need your help. Then pick a flower, the tree said. From this branch. Lily reached up hesitantly, and with a gentle tug, she plucked a delicate white flower from one of the branches. As soon as she held it in her hands, a soft golden glow began to radiate from the petals. Do you see that? Rose whispered, eyes wide. Yes, Lily said, holding the flower carefully. Glowing. The tree's voice continued. This flower will grant you all you need. Take it to your village and sell its fruits. They will solve your problems. The two girls exchanged uncertain glances. Is that really true? Rose asked, her voice full of wonder. The tree responded, remember, greed will cloud your judgment. Take only what you need and be thankful for it. Lily nodded slowly, the weight of the tree's words settling in. Thank you, she said softly. We will remember. With the flower in hand, they made their way back home, the promise of a better future growing stronger with each step. Back at the cottage, Sarah was sitting by the fire, looking frail but alert. When she saw the flower in Lily's hands, her eyes widened in disbelief. Where did you find that? She asked, her voice hoarse but full of wonder. It's from the tree, Lily explained, sitting beside her mother. We think it will help us. That evening, they placed the flower on the windowsill, and as the night wore on, the petals seemed to open up, revealing small fruits that gleamed like gold. The air around the flower smelled sweet, like honey and fresh apples. Lily carefully picked one of the fruits and bit into it. The sweetness was overwhelming, and she felt a rush of energy fill her body. She offered the fruit to Rose, who hesitated but then took a bite herself. Rose's face lit up with joy. It's amazing, Rose exclaimed. We've never tasted anything like this. The next day, the sisters took the fruits to the village market. As they set up their stall, villagers began to gather around, drawn by the sight of the golden fruits. Where did you get these? One woman asked, her eyes wide. They look magical. They came from the old tree at the edge of the forest, Lily said, her voice shaky but confident. They're unlike anything you've ever seen. The villagers eagerly bought the fruits, and within hours, the sisters had sold every last one. The money they made was more than enough to buy food for the winter and repair their house. But as they returned home, with pockets full of coins, a small part of Lily felt uneasy. We have enough now, Lily said, looking at Rose. We don't need to take more from the tree. But Rose, eyes wide with excitement, looked down at the remaining fruits. But what if we could get more? What if we could sell even more and get even more money? Lily shook her head. Remember what the tree said. Greed will cloud your judgment. We've been given enough. We don't need to take more. Rose's shoulders slumped, but she nodded. You're right, Lily. We've got enough to make things better. That's what matters. The next day, the village elder, Mr. Collins, came to their cottage to congratulate them. I heard you sold the fruits. You've done well. Thank you, Mr. Collins, Lily said, smiling. We're going to be okay. As the weeks passed, the family used the money wisely. They bought enough food to last through the winter, repaired the roof, and Sarah's health improved as well. The village slowly started to recover, and so did the farm. And as for the tree, it remained at the edge of the forest, its magic still a mystery, but its gifts no longer needed. The family had learned that sometimes enough is truly enough, and that gratitude, not greed, is the greatest gift of all.